What's going on, guys? Today we are going to go over how to pull the oil pan off of a Honda Fit. This is a first generation GD3. The same. It's relatively the same for all three generations. But we're going to pull this off. We need to take the AC compressor off. It's not too hard to get off. It's 4 bolts. Bunch of 10 mils on the bottom. Those there. But tools we are going to need are a 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, a 17, and then some prying tools. There's some designated prying spots on the oil pan to be able to separate it from the motor. Rubber mallet is helpful too. But first, you'll want to drain the oil out of it, because splashing oil on yourself when you pull it off is a bad time. So we'll go ahead and drain the oil, and then I'll go over exactly where all the bolts are. Alright, we have got the oil drained. I've got the oil filter off. I shoved that in there so it's not dribbling oil on me. But the next step, we're going to pull the AC compressor off. 4 12 millimeter bolts, 2 on the bottom and then 2 up here. Just look around, you'll see them up there. Pull those off, and then this will all come loose. You can pull the belt off beforehand. I usually don't, just leave the belt on, and it'll just kind of dangle here and we can work around it. So we'll pull those 4 next. Alright, got those 4 bolts out. Next we're going to take out all the 10 millimeters. Oh, there's a 12 right there. But there's a bunch of 10s all around this. We've got a 12 here. We got 2 17s. But 10, 10, 10, 10. There's 1 back here, 1 back there, 1 here, 1 there, there. I think that's it. And then there's also 1 in here and 1 in here. So yeah, with the automatics and the manuals, there's still. Usually there's a cover here, you pop that off, but they'll be up in there. It's hard to, you can get a flashlight and see them, but they're hiding up in there. I get people ask, they're having a hard time getting the oil pan off. Usually, yeah, it's these ones hiding up in there that they don't see. But we'll zip all those off, and then we'll go over how to pry it off of here. Some of the automatics, I forget which generation, they've got like the shift lever comes down around the oil pan here. You'll need to put the car into neutral or drive or something to move that lever enough to get the pan off. On the GEs, I know for sure that the crank sensor is over here. There's a little plate. Pop that plate off. Unplug the crank sensor, and then also just take the crank sensor out. If you don't take the crank sensor out, it hangs up on something and you can't get the pan off. So GE and probably GK also, pull your crank sensor out. The GD crank sensor is elsewhere, so it's a different crank sensor than the GE and GK. So we'll go ahead and we'll zip out all those bolts, and then I'll show you guys how to pry this off. Alright, here are where there's 1 there. And then the other one's hiding under some junk in there. Let's get it cleaned up. It's in there. See it? So, yeah, those are the 2 hiding ones. Alright, we have got all of our bolts out. The ones in there. 12 mil. You also need to. There is a bolt that's. Let's see if I can straighten this out. Oh, come on. Yeah, right there. There's a 10 mil that holds the dipstick tube to the rest of the motor. There's a 10 mil up there. You're gonna take that out so you can pull that out, and the dipstick tube junk will come with it. Actually, mine's pretty loose. All right, so. Yours is loose like mine. You can just pull that out now, and it'll come right off. So, yep. Next, we will start prying. There are spots that you can pry. There's one right here. It's a little ledge. But there's a little cavity that you can get a flathead or a little pry bar in. There's another spot right here. Let's see if I can put this right here. You can get say it's a little ledge, you can get something in there to pry on. There's another one right here, over there by your AC compressor, right there, and then another one right here, where that 12 mil was. You can pry right here. So between all those, you should be able to break it loose. If you've got a rubber mallet, just hitting it back and forth should help break it loose. These are held on with like a gasket maker, Honda Bond sort of stuff gooped up around them, so they're kind of somewhat glued on there. But once you break that, you should be able to wiggle it off pretty easy. Start prying and see how it goes. Alright, so I was having a little bit of trouble peeling it off of there. I had my flathead in there trying to wiggle it free. Had this little chisel in there and trying to get it out. That wasn't working. And then I was thinking, man, if I could just get something in there and rotate it. And then I thought, well, if I took a bolt, this is a 17 millimeter head, that didn't really matter, but a bolt, and I shaved down the sides of it, so it's kind of a rectangle. It's got flats on it, and it's the size of the little pry spots on here. So let's see if I can get it in here, let you guys see. So it's just thick enough now that it'll fit into that little pry spot. And then you take your ratchet, put it on there, and then you just pry, and then it breaks it loose. So happy that I figured that out and that I can share that with everyone. Also salty that I didn't figure this out earlier, because I've pulled a lot of these pans and had trouble with them separating. But yeah, if you can shave down a bolt and put flats on it, you can just go around all these pry spots, and yeah, when you rotate it, it just pops it free. So this is free now. I should be able to hit it with the hammer and it wiggle back and forth and come off. Whoop. Yep, it's starting to move. So, yeah, now that it's broke free, it'll be a lot easier to get in here with a screwdriver sort. Oh, see, there it goes. And yeah, just give it a little bit of a pry. Oh, there it goes. Alright, we are loose. There we go, you watch me do it with one hand. Alright. Best case, I mean, really, just peel the pan off and then set it below, because odds are it's just going to keep dripping. You'll want to put paper towels or a box, something, cardboard under here to catch any of your dribbles. But that is how you pull it off. So now that we've got it off, we'll take a look at the prying spots that I was talking about. See, it's got little notches cut out so you can get something in there. Right there, and then yeah, just along here you can get something in there. But where'd my trusty bolt go? Here it is. So this is what I use. The bolt, shave down the sides of it, so then you can stick it in there, and then as you turn it, it'll pop it free. So that'll give you a lot more leverage in there than using a screwdriver or something. And you set it in there, and then as you rotate it, it'll knock that free. So sick. So to put it on, it's just the reverse of taking it off. Nothing too crazy, but that's it. I'm gonna clean this up. Gonna get the bung in here for an oil drain. So that's it. Yeah, put it back together. Just get you some high temp RTV and goop it up all around the edges and get it bolted back on there. But that's pretty much it. Using that bolt with the flats ground in it made pulling the pan off 10 times easier. So dig through your spare bolts bin, find you a bolt big enough, and grind some flats in it to make it a whole lot easier. So, all right, catch you guys later. Okay, and part of the reason of pulling the pan off is I know that the automatic oil pans don't fit the manual transmissions, but I got an auto pan just to see how much that it doesn't. I know it bolts to the motor as it should, all those 10 mils and stuff, but you can see it's the oil pan mount here, and then this is the transmission, so the 2 bolts that go into the transmission don't line up, and then those 2 bolts that were hiding up in here, this is where that one goes, and then that one, so we just need to get different bolts, do that, and then I've got like chunks of the flywheel showing. But I mean, if you're in a hard spot and need an oil pan, you can make an automatic oil pan fit. It's just not going to bolt to the transmission, which I don't know how big a deal that is. I did have to trim off part of the oil pan up here. It was just some of the one of the mounts was too close to the axle. But if you're in a tight spot, you can make an automatic oil pan fit to the motor so that you can drive the car. I know the old manual pans are getting harder and harder to find, so hope this will be helpful to somebody. So, alright, catch you guys in the next one.